Hello, everyone. We are live again on YouTube and LinkedIn to bring you another exciting episode of the Top Innovator series. This is where we dive into proven leadership ideas, game-changing strategies, and most importantly, the brilliant minds behind them. I'm Joseph Martins, and I'm excited to introduce today's guest. With us today is Mike Brown. Mike is the CIO of Lackawanna County, Pennsylvania. Before this role, he held several other tech executive positions, and he's also been on the faculties of a couple of technical learning institutions. And it's important to mention that he's also been the mentor to several people in a number of organizations. Mike, it's an absolute pleasure having you with us today.
Same here, Ms. Martin. So how can I be of service?
I'd love to talk to you about the leadership journey that you had. You're clearly successful as a leader, had an awesome career, and still have an awesome career. And I would like to talk to you about the success that you had and the reasons or the drivers for the success. When you look at your own journey, what do you think are some of the ingredients for your success?
Oh, that's a tough one. Everybody loves to have a recipe that they can emulate, but
Right.
it's a rock soup. Literally, you start off with what you have and you keep throwing things in until you get the flavor just right. So for me, it's been that I've had to take on a mentee role for leaderships that were in other departments as I was moving up the chain to learn what it took to be a great leader or to be a better person, to be that better leader. So they helped me from my time in minerals technologies. The CFO there took me under his wing to help shape me to where I needed to go, to the CIO that was in TMG when I was working there and helped give me some insights on what they thought made a great leader and how to motivate the teams. So I take it as that even with what I do now, I look at other examples and I incorporate that into myself. So
Tell me some of the what are some of the key things that you would say are important for that, Mike?
Well, it's adaptability. You need to be adaptable. You need to not stick to a frame of mindset that doesn't change. If you are focused solely on one point, you will miss everything. So one of the big rules that was given to me early is make sure you see everything. So get the blinders off. No matter what it is that you're trying to focus on, you need to be able to see everything around you to make sure you're going down the right path. From there, it is learn more about your team. You can't lead people if you don't know them. You don't have to be totally intimate with them, but you do need to know what motivates them, what drives them. Where do they want to see themselves in the future? Because if they don't see themselves doing anything else what they have here, you have to question, why are they still here? What keeps them here? And is that going to help bring your team success moving forward? So when you look at those aspects, and then you look at yourself, you need to continually learn. And when I told my team or students when I was teaching them, the day you stop learning is the day you put an expiration date on you and your skill sets. So if you're willing to learn new things, evolve yourself, that translates into your leadership style and the team essentially. So.
Yep. Let me dive in a little bit into what you said there and go a little bit deeper, starting with the adaptability. There is a balance, right, between having a clear plan, having structure, executing the structure, and on the other hand, like you say, being adaptable, being agile, being flexible. Tell me, was there an aha moment in there for you? Was there a moment where you felt one approach doesn't work anymore and I have to change how I lead? Was there some moment? Okay.
Yeah, and that happened with one of my first project management jobs. I was 23 and I'm managing 5 individuals that are over the age of 40. I'm coming in with a practice approach that I already had to try to keep the team structured because I was originally brought in to get rid of dead weight. So
Okay.
they wanted fresh eyes in to reevaluate who's there, who can do what. So some already knew what I was there to do, and I had to remind them, I'm here to do a job that is to make this team look great. If you have the skills we need, if you possess the drive that we're looking for, then you have no problems. But it's building that level of trust and confidence first. So you try to be upfront and honest. Then you get confrontation because you're new here, you don't know what it is that we do. And I said, that is true. I don't know what you're doing here. I need to learn this. Since this is my first day, you've been here for 4 years. So walk me through it.
Okay.
Explain to me what it is that we do. So from the direct approach and being open and honest and stating that I don't know what's going on here, that's what I'm trying to figure out. You bring in if everything is going well, show me what you're doing to validate your concerns that there should be no change.
Yeah.
So already I went to adapt to bringing in the whole, let's work on this together.
Yeah.
I'm the one person, I need your insight. I can't do this alone. So walk with me, show me. And if there's problems here that you already know, we could improve upon those. So that brought in inclusion. So from the inclusion, once we got that, now we can set guidelines and rules to maintain the same level of quality or modify practices that are currently going on to improve efficiency. So by that time, they were already now embracing what I was trying to do, no longer trying to sabotage because many people don't want change. They love how they do what they do. And even if they're getting away with things, they don't want to expose that. But you're going to have to showcase what it is to validate yourself. So when you're looking at, and as we talked before,
I hear you.
The conservation of resources theory, you're going to try to protect what you have so you don't lose anything. So you have to be able to leverage what it is that you're trying to keep while maintaining your standing as a leader and motivating them to do what you need them to do.
Yep. Yep. Got it. That makes perfect sense also in terms of adaptability. And I imagine that was not the easiest project to go through with the age difference that you describe and the different maybe status or expectation that is in there. Not easy.
Yeah, that was in the early 90s. So the thing is that when you're thinking of this and you hear of ageism, you normally think of the senior person having to dealing with, a new younger team, not a younger person dealing with a senior team.
Can be both,
trying to come in here. So
yep, can be both.
Yeah.
Yep, nice example. Talk to me about some of the advice that you received from others. I imagine that was a situation where others were also looking, paying attention to what's happening. What was some of the advice that you got from people you trusted, relied on? What were some of the thoughts they had?
Well, they told me, and from various different ways, people are who they show you who they are. Not necessarily by what they say. So if you're able to read or profile the person, you know what this person is all about. So being able to understand the mechanics of a person, I guess that would be the easiest way to present that. And learning how to read body language, mannerisms, so you know if you're getting the truth from the person. Is that person being non-authentic? And now when you get that, how do you deal with it? Do you call it out in public or do you bring it in separately and try to work out the rationale? Some will tell you, face it head on if it's at a meeting, because you don't want individuals to have side conversations to steer a group of people differently.
Right.
or you can bring them in personally and have that one-on-one. So this way you rebuild the trust, rebuild that connection, and letting them understand that if you have valid points, we can address them, but here's the direction we're going, and here's why.
Yep.
Because you need that understanding.
Yep.
So communicating as clear as possible is a mainstay. It's one of the key points to make sure, and always have it in writing, because the telephone game is still real. And no matter what you say, whatever you say in one way can be interpreted something totally different.
Always, yeah. Always.
But,
and the same is true for writing as well sometimes, right? Even though we wrote it down, but people read different things into the text.
And from all of that, I came up with that statement of, when you're in a meeting, you have to be able to learn how to read the room, especially when it's silent.
I love that.
Because that's when you know there's a problem.
Yep.
You know, and you need to be able to ascertain that and not just take that everybody is quiet because they agree. You need to bring that feedback. A manager that's not willing to take feedback is not a great manager or a leader in any sense. You know, you need to be able to take criticism, especially if they're trying to goad you into a reaction. You want to keep yourself level-headed while you're dealing with conflict and address things in a neutral tone. But always stay on point and never, ever take it personal.
Yeah. Not always easy to do, though, right?
No, it's not.
And once you figured out how to do it, let me know, because I would love to learn that.
Well, there's yoga classes to keep
yeah, right. Yeah.
Sometimes it works for me, other times it escapes me, but I always go back to that and trying to remember that they're lashing out because they don't understand. It's not always because they don't like your approach, they don't like your opinion, they just don't grasp the concept. And sometimes you can't tell everybody everything that you're going to do. You need to bring the team in slowly.
Right.
Give them breadcrumbs and have them build up to the point where you can actually show them that all the negative points that you were coming up to this project and said couldn't be done, you just did them. And now they're amazed at their own quality of work, and that helps boost their morale because you can show them that they can do more than what they think.
Yep, I love it. And sometimes it's only clear afterwards what we've really accomplished, right? When we look at it through the back view mirror, if you want, and see what the accomplishments are. Yeah. Now, we talked about your past leadership journey. I'd love to take a look at today. And this is a question not about the work that you have, the projects that are there, or anything like this. It's still about your leadership journey. What is something that you're working on at the moment for your own development? What is something where you say, I've accomplished a lot, I've done a lot, and here is an area where I would like to grow. Here is an area where I see there's more that I can do. What might be something for you?
Well, for me, my big thing is building not just a solid team, but a solid organization. So I would like to not have, I guess, to being mindful. I'm not looking to build a team of yes people or getting a group of people to just follow the business like a cult. No, we grow together. And that building that synergy between the workforce and management to all be on the same page brings us back into, I guess, when we were a country of producers, when we were in our industrial age. There were challenges, but everyone in that factory saw themselves as a family. They, from top down, everybody knew everybody. We all knew what was going on. We worked as a community because we all had the same mission and goal in mind. We need to be successful to feed our families. We're all in this together. And most organizations still have that disconnect. Some people are still looking at things from just their point of view and not looking at how the company as a whole has to operate. So I'm still focusing, trying to finish off my PhD in industrial organization psychology. So that is to do exactly that, helping the teams connect with the employers,
Yeah.
building that synergy to say that, hey, we're all here together. We're all here as a protected group. So let's strive together to meet the goals, and let us help you reach your goals in the same time frame. And I guess that's one of the biggest things. Most employees get left behind within the goals of the organization. Moving that profit margin is always great, but if you're forgetting the people who got you to those profit margins, are we focused so much on burning employees out to get as much in strip mining them as for their resources, and then pulling the next new model and helping us drive profits? Or are we trying to build a business culture where people can come back to, and this is my lifelong job, this is where, or my career, this is where I'm at. I'm going here because my organization gives me unlimited opportunities to grow. That's where I'm trying to go back to and build back to.
Yeah, that's the point that you want to reach. Yeah, and that makes sense in light of what you said at the beginning, right? You don't want yes people. You need people who really want to have the real conversation, a serious conversation, and sometimes have the conflict that is needed to get to that better organization, to get to that better culture. Yeah. Now, I've asked you about what's happening at the moment. I would like to take a look into the future now. And again, not a question about work, not a question about titles either or organizations. If we were to have this conversation again in 3 years, 5 years or so, what will be different for you? So what's your next evolution of your leadership? What's the next?
Well, hopefully I would be out there talking to organizations and promoting the message of your employees are not tangible, disposable assets. They are helping you drive your profits.
Yep.
So invest in them as they invested in you.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a give and take. It's something that where both sides give something and take something. I like it. Let me ask you one last question, and then we'll land the plane here. Looking at some of your colleagues or some other peers who are also leading tech organizations, is there something that many are missing? What is something that you think you see it, you discovered that, you had an aha moment or an insight, but many other people are not seeing it? Many other leaders might be ignorant to something.
It's that connection. It always comes back to that personal connection. And I'm not saying that every manager needs, like I said before, being intimate with their employees.
Right.
But if you're not having those conversations with your employees every once in a while, and not during just the peer review of, you're doing your evaluation of them and where you hope to see them, you need to talk and see where they are, because the mindset that they started this week may not be the mindset they end the month with. You need to be able to observe what's going on with your employees. And some people will say, well, I have 3,000. I can't sit there and talk with others. Well, that's why you have your subordinates that manage that team's, those individuals for you. They need to inform you of what's going on, because how can you drive a business not knowing how the production wheels are spinning? Is this one driving themselves too hard? Do we need other resources to help out? And we need to stop the canned meetings. Oh, those are just ridiculous. Just having status meetings for the sake of having a status meeting and nothing ever comes out of it. Yeah. Change the conversation. Instead of it being a meeting, we're having a conversation. Just a simple change of that opens people up and will want to share more, because it's a protected space, not to go with more of the terminology that right now is being used, but conversations yield results. Meetings yield more meetings. So you as a leader has to decide which way you want to go.
Yeah. And conversations are really the only thing we can accomplish something as leaders, right? That's our biggest tool. It's the strongest tool we have. So I really like what you said there at the end, turning meetings into real conversations. That's a huge change. It's been a real pleasure having you in the conversation here. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, sharing your insights here. The meeting to conversations will stay with me, and the other line there I think is awesome. You have to read the room, especially when it's silent. Thank you so much for sharing that, Mike.
No, thank you for having me, and it's been a pleasure.
Awesome. To everyone else out there, thank you so much for joining us today. Remember to like and subscribe, and join us again for our next episode of the Top Innovator series. And until then, keep your brain cells active.